Imagine having more fulfilling relationships than you ever dreamed possible, having an abundance of money in the bank, experiencing optimal health, and being able to connect spiritually with the way you believe. Hi, my name is Dr. Ron Eccles, America's success expert, and for more than 30 years I've been helping people just like you have these breakthrough moments. I've designed this incredible success operating system to create the mental wealth you want, you need, and you deserve. Now, because I'm committed to your success, I've got a free gift just for you. I'd like to invite you to a complimentary 30-minute success strategy session one-on-one, where we can show you how you're probably just right around the corner from that breakthrough you really need. So all you have to do is go to my website right now and schedule your session. I look forward to working intently with you to make sure we can really get you on track to experiencing the life you want, you need, and you deserve.
Did you realize your beliefs about money directly impact your income? My next guest, Dr. Ron Eccles, is an expert in leadership and success. He says it's not your mental health that counts, it's your mental wealth. Have you ever wondered what success looks like? Does it mean money in your bank account, a happy marriage, or lots of children in your home? Well, success can have many meanings, and oftentimes we may find that we have success in one area, but what might look like a failure in another area. Well, my guest today is Ron Eccles, and he is the success doctor. And he's here today to help us have a full holistic view of success. Ron, welcome to the show.
Kristen, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so, what does success look like for people?
Well, that's probably the big question most people haven't answered. It's one of the things I have an opportunity to speak all around the country,
right,
to talk to hundreds of people just like you, and I ask them this question. I said, is it possible to hit a target you can't see? Most people go, well, of course not.
Yeah.
But then I ask them, well, do you want to be successful? And they say, yeah, but what is success? And they can't answer it.
Right.
So that's a real big question. Until you can get clear about what it is you really want, it's hard to get it. So let's clear that issue up right now. Success, I believe, is really simple. It's about figuring out what you want, what kind of outcome, what kind of result in, and I say one of 4 areas in life. And because we're talking holistic now, my background's a doctor, I like to be holistic. Your financial world, your spiritual life, your physical body and health, and your relationships. All of them together are your goal. How do you want each of them to look, and what do you want to count them as being successful? And when you address all 4 areas, then you create a plan to actually go at it. You're going to achieve the real success, the holistic success you're looking for. We all know people that have become really wealthy, but their health is really bad when they get to that point, where the relationships are gone. They've been through a divorce or two, or they're having a hard time keeping any relationships open.
Do you think that people believe that they can only be successful in one area of their life? Like, I'm only allowed so much success?
Absolutely. The number one mistake my clients have made coming into my program, coming in to work with me, is that they believe that it's a sum-zero game, which means if I'm going to gain, or you're going to gain, somebody's got to lose. That's just not a reality. The reality of it is you can have as much as you want. We are, where we should be, an abundant kind of person, because the world and the universe is filled with abundance. And the more we believe that, the more we understand that, then we realize that nobody has to lose. We can all win. We just have to actually go out and fulfill the destiny, the actual purpose in life we were designed to fulfill.
So when we talk about defining success, can you just give some examples of what is a definition of success?
Okay. Well, what I do is when I work with people, I get them to figure out, number one, what is it you want? When they say, okay, I want to be rich. I want to have a lot of money. What is that? What does it look like? Well, you got to figure out, I call it reverse engineering. Now, Dr. Stephen Covey, a lot of people familiar with his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Right.
Well, my favorite habit out of that is begin with the end in mind. So if you want to know what your health is going to be like, your finances are going to be like, your relationship, go to the very end. All right, so what is the very end? Well, what kind of house do I want to live in? Where do I want to live? How much do I want to eat out or cook and eat in? What kind of food do I want to eat? How often do I want to go on vacation? What schools I want to send my kids to? What kind of cars do I want to drive? How much money do I want to be able to give charitably? And then we figure out what level of income do we need every month to achieve that. Then we can figure out how much it is every year, and then we have to create a plan to actually produce that kind of wealth.
So it sounds like it's important to me that you start with a really clear vision.
Absolutely. Listen, the bottom line is, I tell people, so listen, maybe you need $5,000 a month to live on every day for the rest of, or every month for the rest of your life. Right. And that'll create the lifestyle you want. You'll live in a home you want, having the level of comfort you feel you want, you need, you deserve. Some people, it might be $50,000 a month. It all depends on what your goals are. That's what makes it really interesting and unique, that when I work with an individual, there's not one definition, because my definition of financial success might be different from someone else. But our relationships are probably all pretty similar to one another. We all want to have happy, fulfilled relationships. So we start with, okay, who do you want to have them with?
Right.
All right, how about your spouse, your parents, your children, your friends, people that maybe you just meet and have less of a close relationship, but you still want to have an effect on their lives. You want to inspire them. So creating those supreme or those excellent relationships is a goal that we all want to have.
So it's important, I'm hearing you say, to not just have a monetary goal and then we figure out how to achieve that monetary goal, but what else do we want things to look like in other categories?
Great question. I can tell you categorically that over the last, let's say, 5-6 years, as I've had an opportunity to work with doctors, lawyers, house moms, all different kinds of people from all different backgrounds, every one of them pretty much came to me wanting to improve and become successful financially. That was their number one goal.
Right.
But they very early on, they learned that that's not where the real wealth or all the real wealth is. The total, the real holistic health comes from when you have the right amount of money that fits your lifestyle, with the right kind of relationships, the fulfilling relationships, with the ability to practice what you believe spiritually and be able to do it, and then to be able to have optimal health. That's when everything's working together and you really have true success.
So it sounds to me like it's a lot about balance. You know, how do you have balance in your life where all the parts flow at a level where one's not peaking out and then everything else is falling apart?
Absolutely. And the number one enemy, believe it or not, when I ask my clients, because I work with a lot of people one-on-one, or I say to them, what is the best way to use our time together today? And invariably, their biggest challenge is how to manage their time effectively. That's the number one problem. And you see, that's where balance comes in, because there's not enough time, so they tell me, to work out every day.
How do you manage your time effectively?
Well, that's a long.
That's my question.
That's a long conversation, and it's a really important question. As a matter of fact, I believe that the quality of the questions you ask in life can determine the quality of your life.
Right. This is
so when people begin to ask the question, hey, how do I handle time more productively? See, because there are people that we would consider, if we talked about Bill Gates or Oprah Winfrey, Donald Trump, very successful people, iconically, in the financial world, we would say, do you think they handle their time different than us ordinary people do? Yes, absolutely they do. So if we can learn what they have done and model their system of or time management, we can get a lot more productivity out of our day and get a lot more achieved in life and get where we want to a lot quicker.
So I want to dig in a little bit on this one.
Okay.
Like when we're talking about time management and people that are perceived as being iconically successful, what are some of those insider strategies? Because I know as a success doctor, you know.
Yeah.
Come on, tell us one or two.
I'll give you one. Now, you're going to have to follow me on this one. It involves just a tiny bit of math, and it's called the Pareto principle.
Okay, Pareto principle.
It's the 80-20 principle.
Okay.
And I'm going to apply it to time management right now. If you really look at your schedule and your life and you start looking at how you spend your time, you'll realize that 20% of the things you do produce 80% of the good results in your life. And the 80% is almost wasted time. You're only getting 20% effectiveness out of it. So if we learned how to dial in on that 20% and figure out what we do during that 20%, we can become more effective if we do what we're doing during that 20% more of the time. So if you figure out what becomes the real productive use, that sweet spot where I'm in the groove, I'm really getting work done. I'm not just occupying space and time. See, a lot of people go to work and they think because they worked 8 hours, they actually got 8 hours worth of work done. Not true. I was talking with somebody recently and they said, you know, how many people do you have that work for you? He said about half of them. I thought that was really funny.
That is funny.
And they said, but even those other half that work, are they working the full 8 hours you're paying them for? So one of our challenges that successful people do this. They race the clock. They try to get as much done in the shortest period of time they can, while everyone else watches the clock. It's a big difference in your mentality. See, everything we're going to talk about today is all about shifting.
Race the clock and watch the clock.
Yep.
So which are you? Do you race the clock or do you watch the clock? That's a good question.
Great question.
So when we're moving into this place of holistic success, you talked about also spiritual success. What does that mean? Just successfully going to church on Sundays?
Well, first of all, one of the greatest points I like to make up front is that I'm not here to tell anybody what they should practice spiritually. I have my practices. My wife and I go to church. We read the Bible together. We do a lot of things together. But here's the problem. I haven't always been like that. I've been, and I'm going to just be flat out, I've been hypocritical at times, where I've talked one thing, but I've done another. You know, and I think we can all relate with that. But what I found was when I began to really concentrate on being spiritually successful, I began to institute the principles and disciplines into my life, and I teach this, on how to actually become congruent, where you get what you're doing matching up with what you believe. And I can tell you this, a lot of people out there are experiencing massive stress in their lives right now, and it's reducing their capability of being productive because they believe in one thing and they're practicing another, and it creates this internal fight that they're not even aware of. It's going on at a subconscious level, and it really has a detrimental effect on them. But when you get the two together, when you're practicing what you preach, you will become so much more effective in your life than you can imagine.
You know, it's so valuable what you're talking about, this kind of alignment, because I think that when we're in alignment, it creates what I call vibrational credibility, meaning when someone is saying something to you, okay, and you're listening to them and you're like, I don't know if I agree with that. It's because they're exactly like you described. They're not in alignment. So it's like, even though the words are perfect and you're probably saying something they'd be interested in, I don't know what it is. It's like, you know how dogs just kind of, they have that extra sense? I think people also have a sense where they can sense if you are in alignment or not.
Yeah.
Do you find that true?
Absolutely. One of the things that I love to help people with, because I'm passionate about it, I was an underachiever in an early part of my life. And it wasn't until the light bulb went on, I was motivated enough to really change me. I had to work on me harder than anything else to get the real success in life, because I was learning disabled. I mean, I was one of those kids, and people, if you're listening to me right now, and you're one of those kids who never shined academically, I don't care how old you are right now, you can change your life. If you just want, if you want that change, you can get it. You absolutely can. I'm living proof.
Yeah.
I mean, there are people right now who might be watching. If you went to high school with me, you're probably sitting there going, how is this guy on TV doing something like this? It's because I began to work on myself, and I've been doing it since I was 20 years old now.
Right.
That means I've been doing it a fair amount of time.
That's why you're the success doctor.
Well, I feel very blessed to be where I'm at. I don't want to take credit that I'm something special. I'm an average person. But I'm an average person who works harder than the average person to achieve the success in life. Because you know what? I believe you and I have been hardwired, we've been created, we've been designed to be successful. And you know what gets in the way? Well, it's real simple. It's like a computer coming out of the box. It has a great hard drive, it's got a beautiful operating system. But it isn't long until you plug into, we call this thing the internet or the world, and we begin to exchange data, that eventually corrupt data gets into the system, and it produces slowness. It makes it bog down. It reduces its efficiency, and eventually it can make it crash. Well, we are just like that. We were designed to be successful. But you know what? We grew around with people, sometimes with the right intentions, but they told us the wrong things. They told us we weren't good enough, we weren't smart enough, we weren't fast enough, we weren't pretty enough. And then we look at the world around us. As a matter of fact, Kristen, I got to tell you, can I share a story with you real quick?
Please.
I love this. I learned this from somebody else because I'm a big movie buff. My wife and I go to the movies probably 3 times a week. And he said, you know what? Hollywood's responsible for a lot of the financial problems in today's world. And I said, wow, I didn't quite get the connection. He said, well, stop and think about it. Who are the bad people in most of the movies? They're always the wealthy. They're always the people, the big corporate people, the people who have money, the people that have the so-called power. But yet, in our worlds, I meet people that have been financially very blessed, very successful, and they're nice, giving, wonderful people. See, Hollywood creates this class envy. And so here's what happens. Subconsciously, we've grown up watching all these successful, wealthy people being the bad people, and we self-sabotage our ability to become financially wealthy because deep down in our programming, we don't want to be bad people. So if we become wealthy, what happens? Well, we'll be like those people on TV, people in the movies.
Those
we'll be
bad
bad
people.
And we self-sabotage our ability to become financially wealthy.
So as I'm listening to you, and you have such passion and energy, it feels like success really comes from a certain mindset.
Absolutely. One of the greatest misconceptions for most people, and it may not even be, they may not even be aware of it at a conscious level, and that is they're looking for their happiness or their success. And I equate happiness and success together, because if you're truly happy, you're successful.
Right.
And you can be a person living in a small shack out in the middle of the woods and be extraordinarily happy, and you can live in a mansion and have millions of dollars in the bank and be miserable. So happy is really important. That's a big part of being successful. And here's where it's at. If you want to be happy, you've got to reach a point in life where you're willing to do what's necessary to achieve that happiness. And where does your happiness come from? Does it come from your external environment, or does it come from inside? You see, I know people who live in ghettos. I know people who live in impoverished situations, but they're happy. They go to church, they serve their community, they give up their time, and they feel blessed every single day. And yet we meet other people who are striving and constantly stepping on anyone they can to get ahead, and they're not happy or fulfilled inside. So if you're depending upon your happiness to come from somewhere outside, well, when you have a snowstorm or a big hurricane like Sandy that just came through, it can devastate everything around you, but does it devastate what goes on inside of you? Is your happiness dependent upon the other person outside you, the circumstances, the job you're in, the weather, or the economy? Or is true happiness something that's generated from inside of you? And I'm going to tell you that your mental edge is everything. As a matter of fact, because I'm a doctor, mental wealth has become my new motto. I work at helping people become mentally wealthy, because if you're wealthy inside here, you'll be wealthy throughout any part of your life. And it's much easier, I can tell you this. When you get it right inside here, it's much easier to become financially wealthy, to have better relationships, to have extraordinary or optimal health, and have a great spiritual life, all right? We've got to have it all.
So I love this saying, mental wealth. I mean, that just has such a great sound to it about, how do we take what's inside and then see abundance from that in every aspect of our lives? And how do we do that?
Well,
give us something really specific.
Really specific, okay. Well, how about I give you a tool that everyone can use right now?
Yeah.
And this is the greatest thing. I coach people, and I spend time, and it takes a while to develop. Like if you go to the gym and you want to become rock hard, you want to get in really good shape.
Right. If
you start out and you're soft and you're overweight, it isn't going to happen overnight. You got to do it day after day. You got to be disciplined. You got to eat right. You got to exercise. And then eventually, compounding that effect over time, you'll see massive results. I'm going to give you a tool today that can actually begin shifting you into a whole new direction in life. And it's a principle I teach my clients to do, and this is the game changer. If they will do this, and if you'll do this, you will get massive results in your life, and you can start right now. Number one is you got to believe what's possible. You look at Oprah Winfrey, you look at somebody who's come up against every adverse situation you can imagine. Who would ever think she would become the first African-American billionaire? At every disadvantage you can think of. She could have made up every excuse in the world and said, it's not possible for me, but somehow she began to believe it was possible, and it's become a reality. The second thing is, you've got to be able to write down, and I'm going to call this a declaration and an affirmation. Write this out. I don't want you to think about what you've been like in the past. I want you to think about what you want to be like in the future. You want to be optimally fit? You got to begin to affirm and declare that. You want to have better spiritual walk, better relationships, better finances? Begin to write down a declaration that I'm a frugal spender. I'm careful about my money. I invest wisely. Now, if I
know that really works too. I've written things down before and then later gone back and been like, wow.
Yep.
It is so powerful. So I know that works.
It's one of the key ingredients to my entire coaching program. Write it down. Speak in the way you want to be. And then here's the key. Read it out loud twice a day. Why is that so important? Well, when we have to think about it, we read it, we think about it, we're engaging a whole different part of our brain. Then when we speak it with intent and clarity, really visualizing it, imagining it.
In conviction.
we speak it out loud, then we also hear it with our ears. It goes back into another part of our brain, and we're actually beginning to reprogram our brains to work in a much more optimal way that'll cause us to do something that's really clever, to become consistent with what declaration we made.
Wow.
See, if I sit there and I say every day that I want to love my wife in a unselfish, godly way, that I put her first, and I say that twice a day out loud, well, guess what happens when I get in a fight or I get in an argument with her about something? I'm much faster. See, I grew up where...
You get reminded.
Yeah. I grew up, I was a wall builder in relationships. I would build a wall like that when somebody hurt me. But now I've learned that wall building, particularly to our wives, to the women in our lives, is very destructive. And I learned very quickly to tear that wall down and to go back, apologize, and to resolve the problem so that it doesn't go from a molehill to a mountain.
And one brick at a time.
And I'll tell you, what's really helped me do that, and my wife will attest, I've gotten much, much better at it, is I declare that every single day. It's part of my affirmation, part of my declaration.
So how long do you spend every morning with this? It sounds like more like a spiritual practice, doing your declarations and working on your beliefs.
Well, my wife and I, we wake up every day, we spend time in prayer, we spend time reading scripture for us, that's our personal thing. But my declarations and my affirmations are done in a period, I read them, it takes me a couple minutes. I mean, that's how powerful this is.
Right. You
spend an hour or two figuring it out, writing it down, and then you spend a couple minutes each day reading it out loud twice. Now, here's the power of you said intent. Have you ever woken up from a dream and it was so real, maybe it was a nightmare or something, and what's happening to your heart?
Oh, it's racing.
It's racing,
yeah.
Right? Well, was there a real imminent threat around you? True, and the answer is no. But because your brain perceived it and imagined it so powerfully, you had a physiological reaction in your body. Well, just think if that happens that way, just think how you can take that and use that to your advantage. Imagine it connecting with that person who's going to be better, the better person you want to be, you're declaring now, and truly imagining it in a way that you can get a physiological change in your body.
Wow.
I mean, it's amazing. My clients have had some miraculous change in their lives, and some of them are at such a subtle level, like not flipping out when they used to flip out over the certain things. Now they handle it with such grace that they never did before because they've been practicing their affirmations and declarations.
That seems really simple, too, that you can just have a belief, then write it down. Do you do the declarations or affirmations? You can do them in the shower or the car or wherever you want, right?
I do them in a car a lot. I do them at home in my office.
Are they like on an index card?
Yeah, I actually print them out on I print them out on my computer on a piece of paper, and then I got them laminated. If you don't have it laminated, you can go to a Staples or something like that and get it laminated. And I keep them at different places. There's also apps on phones now. You can actually put the app on your phone and put your declaration here and scroll through it and read it.
Wow.
Eventually, you'll get to know it so well, you're reading it and the words are already programmed into your head.
You know what I find so fascinating is, because I've done a lot of work with affirmations and things like that, is that when we get started, what we perceive as our ultimate, like our ceiling, like I just can't wait to get to that point, so fast that becomes the floor. And then you're standing on top of what you perceived was the ultimate. And then it's important to create these new beliefs, these new declarations, these new affirmations. Do you find that a lot in your own work?
Absolutely. I think the biggest problem most people have is not even getting to that point yet, but is getting started, coming out of the gate.
Yeah.
They say, well, I don't know what to write down. I mean, I can't put I said, just do something. Imagine a better you in some way. What do you want to change in your life? What do you want to be? If you could imagine yourself being any way, how would it be? Spiritually, how would it be relationally? How would it be financially? And how would it be in your health?
Is it important to declare it in the present tense, like it's already happening in your life, or someday I'll be like this?
No, you're right. It's very great question. You must do it present time. You see, there's a science. Social scientists have come up with a number of different laws, principles they have studied over decades now. And one of them is called consistency and commitment. In other words, when you declare it in the present, you will begin to raise the bar to live according to what you've declared. In other words, you force yourself into behaving and acting in a way that is the way you're speaking now. And here's what's really important. The most valuable piece of information I learned one day was the mental attitude of be, do, have. What does that mean? Here's how most people do. is the have, do, and be. Now listen carefully. Most people say, once I have $1 million, then I'll do what millionaires do, and then I'll be a millionaire. But that's backwards. You must be a millionaire here first. You don't have to have it in your bank account. You got to be wealthy financially up here. And then when you're wealthy financially up here, you'll do what wealthy people do. And then guess what? You have what wealthy people have. Mm-hmm. That's the real catalyst. That's what makes the big difference in most people's, is they're just not having the right mental approach. And that's why we talked about mental wealth.
Ron, if you start thinking differently, how long does it take to change, though?
Well, that's a really tough question to answer, but let me give you this, because most people want to know, how long is it going to take me to get rich? If I start thinking about wealth now, how long will it take me to get rich? If I start thinking about being in good shape or having optimal health, how long is that going to take? Well, let me just tell you, the general principle that I go by is called the law of sowing and reaping. And again, I told you in the beginning, you can get instant change, and that instant change begins by believing. Number one, because once you believe, and then you begin to institute just a little practice of writing an affirmation declaration, now what you've done was, if you were going in the wrong direction, you're now turned around, you're doing a 180, and you're moving in the right direction. So that's the instantaneous change. But the change we are wanting to feel, the clothes fitting better, our bank account beginning to grow, that follows natural law of sowing and reaping. I'll give you an example, farmer. A farmer doesn't plant a seed one day, plant the crop.
And then just stare at it.
And then say, okay, the next day I'm going to come out and I'm going to harvest the crop.
Right.
It doesn't happen that way. That's not natural law. We have to follow natural law. If we begin to work on our finances, begin to understand that we want to have money in the bank, we want to develop a certain amount of wealth and comfort to live on, we're going to have to create a plan, we're going to have to work that plan and discipline ourselves, and we're going to have mistakes along the way. It's going to happen. We're going to have setbacks. Don't ever let that stop you, because everybody gets them. Bill Gates had it. Oprah Winfrey had it, Donald Trump had it, they've all had it, and we have them. But you got to keep pressing forward and be persistent. And if you work with the right strategies, get the right coaching and help when you need it, and you institute the discipline to do it every day, over a period of time, you're going to get massive change before you even know it.
So someone is watching right now and they're inspired, because I feel really inspired by what you're talking about. How can they connect with you?
Well, there's going to be a website where you can actually contact and you can leave a message, and one of my team members, one of my staff, might even be me personally, might reach out and to answer your question or to figure out how we can serve you best. And if we're going to be a good fit, because not everybody that comes to me is a good fit. I turn people away all the time, because if the student's not ready, the teacher won't appear. I want to make sure people are ready to get maximum value of their time with me. So they can contact me through my website. That's probably the best way. And there is on my website, drroneccles.com, there is a contact number there. You can call up, leave a message. We'll get back to you as soon as possible.
So I understand you also, not only do you work with people privately, but you also have a program?
I do. I had to figure out a way I could, because I can only work with 10 to 12 people at the one-on-one level that I do, because I'm a butt kicker. I'm there. You're giving me permission. You're figuring out what you want, and I'm here to hold you accountable for what you want. So that's how I work with my clients. And I have clients all over the world. I've got my first client came out of France. Great guy I work with, and not very one-on-one kind of relation kind of guy. And we're pushing him out to become that contact person. So he's got a lot of levels to grow, and he's really excited about it, because he's got someone to push him and to reinforce it and to inspire him to go and be more. Now, obviously, not everybody can do that, because I only have a certain number of slots available. But what I did was I created my group coaching program called the Success Operating System. And I recorded the entire program, the step-by-step system that'll take you through all my materials. It's 35 years of information, probably more than 30,000 hours of accumulated knowledge, of practical knowledge. Because I started out to find success for me. Right. And along the way discovered the principles by studying successful people, successful businesses, and just success in general. So I created this program called the Success Operating System, so you can get reprogrammed, get rid of that bad programming, and reprogram yourself to achieve any success in life you've ever wanted.
So to anyone out there who's watching and wants to have an opportunity to get started right now, just to kind of plug in and get that mental wealth mindset, give them one little tip from inside that Success Operating System.
Absolutely. Successful people learn how to take action, and take action right now. I train every audience. In fact, I was just speaking on a cruise ship, and I was speaking to a group about changing their lives and how to be positive in a negative world. And I tell them, I want you to repeat two things when you wake up every single morning. Number one, I want you to say, if not now, when? You see, that puts a urgency. Time is going by. So if not now, when? And that tells you, take action now. Then if not me, who? That's the second question. If not me, who says, I deserve it. If I'm going to have something, it's up to me. I've got to go after it. I've got to take the action and move. So those two questions can radically change your life. If not me, then who? If not now, when?
Dr. Ron Eccles, thank you so much for being here, the success doctor, and being part of this incredible ripple effect that's going on in the world today. Thank you.
Thank you, Kristen.
Okay.
Imagine having more fulfilling relationships than you ever dreamed possible, having an abundance of money in the bank, experiencing optimal health, and being able to connect spiritually with the way you believe. Hi, my name is Dr. Ron Eccles, America's success expert, and for more than 30 years, I've been helping people just like you have these breakthrough moments. I've designed this incredible success operating system to create the mental wealth you want, you need, and you deserve. Now, because I'm committed to your success, I've got a free gift just for you. I'd like to invite you to a complimentary 30-minute success strategy session one-on-one, where we can show you how you're probably just right around the corner from that breakthrough you really need. So all you have to do is go to my website right now and schedule your session. I look forward to working intently with you to make sure we can really get you on track to experiencing the life you want, you need, and you deserve.